Perched on the rugged southwest corner of Unimak Island in Alaska's Aleutian chain, the Scotch Cap Lighthouse stands as a testament to maritime history, resilience, and the unpredictable forces of nature. Established in 1903, it was the first lighthouse on Alaska's outside coast, guiding vessels through the treacherous Unimak Pass. However, its legacy is marred by a devastating tragedy on April 1st, 1946, when a massive tsunami obliterated the station, claiming the lives of its 5-man crew. In the years following, tales of paranormal occurrences have emerged, adding an eerie chapter to its storied past. The Scotch Cap Lighthouse was commissioned to aid navigation through the Unimak Pass, a critical waterway for vessels traveling between the Pacific Ocean and the Bering Sea. The original structure was a 45-foot wooden tower built in 1903. Over the years, the lighthouse witnessed several maritime incidents, including the wreck of the cannery supply ship Columbia in 1909, where the 194 crew members were hosted by the keepers for 2 weeks until rescue was possible. By 1940, the original wooden lighthouse was replaced with a more durable concrete structure, designed to withstand the harsh Alaskan environment. This reinforced building featured a combined fog signal and lighthouse tower, enhancing its visibility and functionality. The station also became a hub for radio communication, with a direction-finding station established to assist in navigation and rescue operations. In the early 20th century, the Aleutian Islands were a vital hub for the burgeoning Alaskan fishing industry. Cannery supply ships like the Columbia played a crucial role, transporting food, equipment, and personnel between remote outposts along the treacherous coastline. Navigation in these waters was notoriously difficult, with sudden storms, fog, and violent currents making even routine trips dangerous. Scotch Cap Lighthouse, built in 1903, was still relatively new at the time and served as one of the few navigational aids in the region. Its wooden tower, perched on the rocky cliffs of Unimak Island, was a guiding light for vessels braving the perilous waters of the North Pacific. In 1909, the Columbia departed from a southern Alaskan port loaded with supplies for the remote canneries scattered along the Aleutian chain. The voyage, which under normal conditions might have been uneventful, quickly turned into a nightmare. Storm clouds gathered over the horizon, winds intensified, and the ship was soon battling massive swells that tossed it violently toward the jagged coastline near Unimak Island. Visibility dropped as fog enveloped the area. The captain, attempting to navigate by sight and the limited charts available at the time, misjudged the position of nearby reefs. The ship struck a submerged rock, tearing a gaping hole in its hull. Water began flooding the lower decks, and panic spread among the crew of 194. Thanks to the vigilance of the Scotch Cap Lighthouse keepers, disaster was mitigated. The keepers spotted the floundering Columbia and immediately sounded the foghorn to warn nearby vessels and signal the presence of danger. They also prepared emergency supplies and signaled distress to other stations. The lighthouse keepers then undertook a heroic effort to assist the stranded crew. Using small boats and ropes, they ferried sailors from the Columbia to the safety of the rocky shore. For 2 grueling weeks, the keepers provided shelter, food, and medical attention to the mariners, despite the harsh weather conditions. The lighthouse, still largely isolated, became a temporary sanctuary and a beacon of hope amid the chaos. Though the Columbia was a total loss, the bravery of the Scotch Cap Lighthouse crew prevented what could have been a catastrophic loss of life. This event highlighted the critical role of lighthouses in the early 20th century, not just as navigational aids, but as life-saving outposts in one of the most dangerous maritime regions in the world. The wreck also underscored the perils of Alaskan waters, prompting improvements in maritime charts, weather reporting, and the eventual modernization of lighthouse facilities. For the keepers, the rescue reinforced their reputation as stalwart guardians of the Aleutian seas, a legacy that would tragically be tested decades later during the 1946 tsunami. The story of the Columbia and the Scotch Cap Lighthouse keeper's heroism has endured in Alaskan maritime lore. It is often cited as an example of the lighthouse keeper's unwavering commitment to safeguarding human life, a commitment that transcended their own safety. Some ghost stories even suggest that the spirits of those saved by the keepers linger near the lighthouse, adding another layer to the haunted reputation of Scotch Cap. On the morning of April 1st, 1946, at approximately 1:30 a.m. local time, a massive earthquake struck the Aleutian Islands, Alaska. With a magnitude of 8.6, it was one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded in the region. The epicenter was located near Unimak Island, the easternmost island in the Aleutian chain. The tremor was felt across a vast area, including parts of Alaska, the west coast of the United States, and even as far as Hawaii. In Unimak Island, the earthquake caused significant displacement of the seafloor, setting the stage for the catastrophic tsunami that would follow. Approximately 45 minutes after the earthquake, a massive tsunami struck the Aleutian Islands, with waves reaching heights of up to 130 feet in some areas. The Scotch Cap Lighthouse, situated on a 90-foot bluff on Unimak Island, was directly in the path of the wave. The tsunami obliterated the lighthouse and its surrounding structures, including the crew's quarters and radio equipment. All 5 members of the lighthouse crew, BMC Anthony Perched, FN Jack Colvin, SN Dewey Dijkstra, SN Paul Ness, and MM2 Leonard Pickering, were killed in the disaster. The tsunami's impact was not confined to Alaska. In Hawaii, the waves caused widespread destruction, particularly in Hilo, where 159 people lost their lives. The tsunami also affected coastal regions along the Pacific Rim, including parts of Japan, South America, and even Antarctica. In the immediate aftermath, rescue and recovery operations were launched, but the scale of the disaster overwhelmed local resources. The lack of a formal tsunami warning system at the time contributed to the high casualty numbers, as many communities were caught unprepared. The 1946 Aleutian Islands earthquake and tsunami underscored the need for improved tsunami detection and warning systems. In the years following the disaster, significant advancements were made in seismic monitoring and tsunami forecasting, leading to the establishment of the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center in 1949. The Scotch Cap Lighthouse disaster remains a poignant reminder of the destructive power of nature and the importance of preparedness in safeguarding lives and property. In the wake of the disaster, the US Coast Guard established a temporary unmanned light at the site to continue guiding mariners through the Unimak Pass. The radio station crew of 25 remained on Unimak Island until the end of April, assisting with recovery efforts and maintaining communication systems. The survivors were eventually evacuated to Ketchikan, Alaska, and later to California. In honor of the fallen crew, the US Coast Guard commissioned the construction of a new lighthouse. Completed in the early 1950s, this structure replaced the temporary light and served as a permanent memorial to the 5 men who perished. The lighthouse was automated in 1971, and a skeletal tower replaced the 1950s structure in the following decades. Long after the tragic 1946 tsunami, those who venture near the ruins of Scotch Cap Lighthouse report strange, often chilling experiences. Witnesses have described ghostly figures moving among the remnants of the lighthouse, sometimes appearing as if carrying lanterns or performing the nightly duties that the ill-fated keepers once maintained. Visitors recount hearing footsteps echoing along the rocky cliffs, even when they are alone. Doors have been said to creak open or slam shut without explanation, and the faint sound of voices, whispers of conversation, or shouts of warning has been reported on windless days. Some claim to feel sudden drops in temperature, a coldness that seems unnatural, or a sense of being watched from unseen corners of the ruined structures. Paranormal investigators suggest that these phenomena may be examples of residual haunting, a theory proposing that intense emotions and traumatic events can leave an imprint on a location. The 1946 tsunami was such a cataclysmic event that the deaths of the 5 lighthouse keepers may have etched themselves into the environment itself. Locals speak of seeing shadows reenact the last moments of the crew, as if the events are replaying themselves endlessly for those who are sensitive enough to witness them. One of the most persistent legends tells of a figure known as the Phantom Keeper. This apparition is usually described as a tall man in the uniform of a US Coast Guard lighthouse keeper, sometimes holding a lantern or checking gauges. Witnesses claim that the figure sometimes gestures toward the cliffs or shouts warnings, only to vanish moments later. Some theorize this may be the spirit of Anthony Perched, the lighthouse's last active keeper, eternally fulfilling his duty to protect mariners even after death. Scotch Cap is often shrouded in fog, wind, and crashing waves, conditions that alone can be eerie. But those familiar with the lighthouse report more than just natural sounds. Strange lights have been seen flickering near the cliffs, moving in ways that cannot be explained by passing boats or natural reflections. Others report hearing radios crackling with garbled messages, footsteps echoing on stairs that no longer exist, or foghorn-like sounds that mimic the long-gone fog signal. Even experienced Coast Guard personnel stationed nearby have described an unsettling sensation of being observed, and some claim their equipment behaved erratically for no apparent reason. Skeptics suggest that the lighthouse's remote location and history of tragedy naturally lend themselves to ghost stories. The combination of isolation, harsh weather, and the knowledge of the keeper's deaths can create a psychological environment ripe for paranormal interpretation. However, even those who approach with skepticism often report inexplicable experiences, lending a haunting legitimacy to the tales. The local Aleut communities also have stories of spirits tied to the sea and land, and some believe the lighthouse tragedy awakened or disturbed these ancient forces. Maritime lore and ghost stories often intertwine, with the lighthouse serving as a nexus where natural danger, human tragedy, and the supernatural converge. Today, Scotch Cap Lighthouse continues to draw paranormal enthusiasts, historians, and ghost hunters. While access is extremely limited due to its remote location, those who study its history or attempt investigations report experiences that cannot be easily dismissed. The combination of natural danger, historical tragedy, and eerie occurrences cements Scotch Cap as one of the most compelling haunted lighthouse sites in the world. The Scotch Cap Lighthouse stands as more than just a navigational aid. It is a symbol of human courage, resilience, and the tenuous balance between man and nature. From its establishment in 1903 to guide mariners through the perilous waters of the Aleutian Islands, to the heroic rescue of the Columbia crew in 1909, the lighthouse has borne witness to both the triumphs and vulnerabilities of those who risk their lives at sea.